In today's video, I'll be looking at another vintage toy keyboard, and this time it's the Yamaha PSS-160. I found this one on Facebook Marketplace and it's in reasonably decent condition, although it will need a good clean to get all the ink and stickers off the keys. It also has a fault with the tone selector. No matter what I choose, I always get the same sound. Fortunately, this was easy enough to fix with a good squirt of contact cleaner, and the stickers were easy enough to scrape off. All I needed to clean up the adhesive and the ink was isopropyl alcohol. And here's what it looks like cleaned up. It's not quite as good as new, but considering it's over 35 years old, it's not in bad shape. The PSS-160 was released in 1986 and has 44 miniature keys, or 3.5 octaves. It has 10 melody sounds and 10 built-in rhythms, with the typical auto-accompaniment feature you'd expect on an amateur keyboard of this era, using a single-finger chord system. It has the ability to adjust the rhythm volume separately from the main volume, and this only affects the drum sounds, not the bass and chords. The keyboard has 4-voice polyphony, so you can play up to 4 notes at a time. The auto-accompaniment feature uses 2 of these voices, so when that's turned on you can only play 2 melody notes at once. There's also a melody memory feature which allows you to record and play back a short tune. This is monophonic and only works with the auto-accompaniment enabled, so you can play 1 additional note at a time while it's playing back, and that can either be the same melody sound or a different one. So now let's have a listen to the different sounds. As there's only 10 of them, I'll demonstrate them all, using the first few bars of some folk songs. The synthesis is based on square waves, so none of them sound at all realistic, but several of them are quite nice in their own way. First we have organ. Then clarinet. Flute. Violin. Oboe. Piano. Harpsichord. Vibes. Pop synth, which is quite similar to the vibes but without the sustain. And finally cosmic. Here's what the waveforms of the sounds look like in an audio editor. They're all very simple waveforms, mostly based on filtered square waves. Personally, I think the pop synth and cosmic work the best, probably because they're not trying to represent any real instrument, and so they're easier to judge on their own merits. The internals of the keyboard look more or less as you'd expect, although it's interesting to see that there's a reasonable amount of metal in the key mechanism. These days a modern toy keyboard would probably have an entirely plastic mechanism, which would be a lot less durable than this one. I wanted to remove the motherboard to take a look at the chips on the other side, but it looks like I'd probably have to desolder the back panel connectors to do that, and I didn't think that was worth doing. But clearly this one is the CPU, as it's connected to the ribbon cables that go to the circuit boards for the control panel and the key mechanism, and there's another chip here and a third one under this shield. Now it's time to play a full arrangement of a folk song on the PSS-160. As usual, I'll do 2 versions, firstly using the auto-accompaniment feature, and secondly as a multitrack recording using a variety of the available melody sounds. I've chosen the Scottish tune Corn Rigs Are Bonny. The melody dates from the 17th century and the lyrics are a later addition by Robert Burns, who wrote in the Scots language. This is mutually intelligible with English, and so the few words in this song that might look like English misspellings are actually correct Scots. Here's my first version using the auto-accompaniment. I think that actually worked quite well, even though it's obviously not even remotely traditional. So now let's try the multitrack version. I'll keep the pop synth melody and add a bass line on the clarinet and chords on harpsichord and flute, as well as some extra notes on cosmic in the chorus. One of the comments I got from quite a few people who saw an early version of that arrangement was that it sounded like old video game music. This isn't too surprising, as a lot of 80s and 90s consoles used square waves as their main sound generators, and it all ends up sounding quite similar. That's all I have for this video, and I do hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoy making these keyboard videos, but as they do cost a bit more money to make than my normal videos, I'd like to ask you to consider supporting me on Ko-fi if you enjoy them. All of the money will go back into buying more instruments to talk about on the channel, and please don't feel under any obligation, especially if you don't have much income. There's a link in the video description. I'm already planning another keyboard video for later in the year, and plenty of other interesting instruments and tunes in the meantime, so please do subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see those. Thanks for watching.